Erev Shabbos is Parshas Mitzorah. In this week's Parsha, we are again continuing with the saga of the Mitzorah. He who is afflicted because he spoke Lashon Hara. It makes sense when Tazir and Mitzorah is together. It's one big sugya. But here we talk about when the Taras doesn't show up on the person, it shows up on his home. Right? There are different levels. It could show up on an actual, on flesh, on skin. Then it could also show up on begadim, on clothing. That's why Jews wear white shirts. I have no idea, maybe. And then it could show up on his home. The lashon in the Torah regarding this home is asher miyachid lo yahabayis. What does that mean? He who unifies his home for himself, like he gets saras. What does it mean? Well, why is that he's getting punished because he was miyachid his home? What does that mean to be miyachid your home? So here are two opposite explanations. The first explanation is that the person was miyachid his home to only himself. He did not say kol dich v'nei. Anyone who wants can come and join in my suda. If anybody needs a cup of water, someone knocks on the door. Okay, maybe he won't trust my kasher, so I'm not going to offer him, a hamburger. But maybe I could get him to eat an orange. Shemitah, it's complicated. Maybe I could get a cup of water, a plastic cup. And if I could get him, Ravigim Miller says, if you could get him a shulch to take a cup of water, you're a lucky man. Yeah, try to get him to have a cup of water. My home is not miyachid for me. If a person is meyachid lo yabayis, Hashem's going to stick taras on his home and say, you have to open this up. You have to open this up. The second side is kamat the opposite. Hashem yachid lo yabayis means that this person was meyachid his home. He designated his home. He consecrated his home. He dedicated his home to the Rebbeinu Shalom, to Avodas Hashem. He made it, like Rav Wilber calls a home, a base medrash for chesed. Person who does that with his home, he gets the schus of tzaras. What does that mean? When I heard this pshat, it's changed my entire perception of what tzaras is. You see, none of us are perfect, and lashon hara is, look, it's rampant. It's not. The Gemara says this is like it's a mitzvah that just has bad mazel, right? Say no one eats pork. It's pork. Lashon hara is no better or worse than eating pork, and yet there's a crazy Yitzhara for it. No one's perfect. If the Mashgiach stops yelling at you when you do something wrong, then you know you're in big trouble because he gave up on you. As long as the Rebbeinu Shalom is still going to come to us and say, hey, uncle, come on, you're talking Lashon Hara. It's not us. Work on yourself. You could do better. You could be better. I believe in you. That's what Taras is. Hashem was reaching out and putting a spiritual sign on this man's flesh, on his body, on his clothing, on his home, to tell him it's a hug from Hashem. I believe in you. You can be better. I expect more from you because you're my son. That's why if he takes care of his tzaras, he'll find the treasure behind it. That's just part of the hug. I think it's a beautiful way of looking at tzaras. Of course, tzaras comes from Lashon Hara. Rabbi Ephraim Shapiro said this story. He knew the couple themselves. The husband was out packing the car. See, they were heading out on a field trip. And as he was loading the car, his little daughter says, Abba, Mommy says you're working like a dog. And he says, that doesn't sound like Ima. Hang on. He runs inside. As he gets to the kitchen, he sees his wife holding a glass, pale as a ghost. She drops the glass and faints. As he runs in, he immediately calls Hatzalah. The ambulance shows up, takes her to the hospital, and says, "You saved her life by 20 minutes." She had some aneurysm, some crazy thing happened in her brain. Baruch Hashem, she was okay. This couple is telling Rabbi Shapiro the story. He says, "I was thinking, why were you so alarmed by that comment? It must be that she never spoke like that." The godless of this woman, her entire life, she never spoke even to say something like he's working like a dog. Like it's like unrefined, and that triggered something in the husband's mind. He's like, that doesn't sound right, and that saved your life. We should always be shamer. We need a hechsher on everything that we eat all year. The people have hechsherim on tissues and toothpaste. I mean, look, Don't eat toothpaste. And don't eat tissues. Okay? You'll save yourself all the kashrus problems if you don't eat them. Right? But more than what we need a hechsher, what goes into our mouth, the chametz that we let into our home, we have to be careful what comes out of our mouth. We definitely need a mashkiach on what we speak. But we be zeiche to treat all of the mitzvahs with the respect, the glory, the reverence that they each deserve, and live accordingly. We be zeiche to gather together in Eretz Yisrael and bring the Korban Pesach very, very, very soon. Shavu Vanim, Shavu Vanim, Shavu Vanim, Shavu Vanim, Shavu Vanim Legulam, Shavu Vanim, Shavu Vanim, Shavu Vanim, Shavu Vanim, Shavu Vanim Legulam, Shavu Vanim, Shavu Vanim, Shavu Vanim, Shavu Vanim, Shavu Vanim Legulam. Good Shabbos.